These are the 5 main reasons that I've seen that drive people to retire early and enjoy what I call the youth of their senior years. Let's go for a walk and talk about them. And the first one, people think that it's because, people decide to retire because they've gained confidence that they have enough money. That's gonna make the list, but it's not number 1. And spoiler alert, no matter how much money you have, I've noticed as a retired financial advisor, I worked in the industry for over 20 years. No matter how much money you have, it's not unusual to feel that you do not have enough money. So what is the number one reason? The number one reason is people are super um, vigilant about their health. They're conscious about their health, and they realize that while they may have another 20 or 30 years to live, or maybe not, they realize for whatever reason they may not have that many healthy years in front of them, and they wanna take full advantage of what I call the youth of their senior years. So, the health is the number 1 that I've seen, and as I look at it, we really have 3 limiting valuable resources in our life. One is money, another one is time, but the third one is health. And as we get into our early 50s or mid 50s or late 50s, we may find for the first time in our life, we have all 3 of those. We still have a lot of time in front of us. We have more money likely than we've ever had before, and we still have a lot of health hopefully in front of us. And it's people that really are thinking about and are conscious of the fact that their health is not gonna last forever. Those are the folks that's the number one reason that I see. Or there's been a health scare in their family somewhere along the way. Like in my case, I retired at 59. Why? Um, well, one, I helped hundreds of people transition into retirement, so it gave me a vantage point inside of the tent, and being in the industry for over 20 years, I saw how people's health would start to go down. But just in my own personal life, my father had his first heart attack at 56 or 57 and ultimately passed away of heart disease, so that's number 2. I'm sorry, number 1. Number 2 is what many folks thought number 1 was gonna be, and that is related to their finances, but not necessarily that they have enough money or they know they have enough money, but rather that they're willing to compromise. They're willing to say, "What would it take for me to retire early?" There's a tool that financial advisors use, it's called the Monte Carlo simulation, and it gives people an idea of what's their likelihood of having their money last for the rest of their life. And as a financial advisor, I wanted my clients to, have a 98, 98, 99% likelihood of never running out of money. But the cost of that, to go from an 80% likelihood of never running out of money to 97%, that's paid for in years of your life. And so some folks say, "You know what? I'm willing to adjust. I'm willing to take an 80% or an 85% likelihood of success, which gives me a 100% likelihood of being able to retire 2, 3, 4, or more years earlier, right? I'm willing to give up that 17 percentage points between 80 and 97% to get 100% certainty of being able to utilize the next 3, 4 years of our life, because what takes you from 80 to 97% likelihood of success, yes, is money, but how do we get that money? That money is years of our life, right? We exchange years of our life to get that increased certainty. And it's important to remember that multiple studies have shown that the majority of retirees 15, 16, 17 years later still have the amount of money that they retired with or more. 80, I should say it's 80% or more. So many, many of us are gonna die with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars that, is gonna go unspent And that's fine if you have legacy goals and things like that. But if you gave up the youth of your senior years to do that, it might be something that you regret later. Okay, then number 3 reason, and this is going to surprise a lot of folks too, it surprised me, is folks that have a really solid relationship with their spouse, their significant other, or other important friends in their life, people that have good, solid relationships, are more likely to retire sooner, mm, just because they have those relationships in their life. It makes it easier to take this leap into the unknown, and that's really what can be dramatic for some people is this leap into the unknown, which is retirement, right? We've been working for 20, 30, 40 years. And as much as we're looking forward to retiring, many of us, myself included, have this, spot in our heads that are like, well, it's not going to be all unicorns, rainbows, and sunshine. There's going to be some challenges, and I'm giving up this warm, cozy feeling of what I know. And having a partner in life, having a good friend in life makes it easier to make that leap. Also, one of the risk factors for retirement is when people allow themselves to get isolated. So don't let that happen to you. Okay, number 4 is people that tend to retire early tend to be more flexible and willing to kinda go with the flow and realize that we can't control as much as we think we can control. And those folks will say, "Okay, Azul, you told me that, I have a 85% likelihood of never running out of money. That sounds pretty good to me." And, if they have to get a part-time job for a couple years, um along the way, they're okay with that, or if they have to cut their spending back for a couple years, they're okay with that, and it's being flexible, with both your lifestyle as well as with your investments and particularly your investment results. One of the things that's super painful, for retirees, and rightfully so, is when, having market downturns, we're all heroes till the market goes down, for the first 10%, most of us can withstand that pretty well. Somewhere between a 20% drop and a 30% drop, that starts getting everybody's attention, and as a retiree, one of your biggest risk is what's called sequence of return risk, is getting those negative returns early on. So the people that can be flexible, that can roll with the punches, that realize that market volatility is unfortunately a feature of the stock market, not a bug, and are willing to be flexible, maybe change their spending habits for a couple years, maybe think about a part-time job. Those folks are likely, and it's easier for them to retire sooner. And then the number 5, but I've got a bonus for you for stick around. But number 5 is, people that have thought through a new sense of purpose. How are they gonna spend their time once they retire? And I used to think, gee, you need to have 40 hours a week of something that's gonna give you purpose. Having just hit the 1-year mark of my own retirement, having something that you can do, um, 10, 15 hours a week, that's the seed. That's the nugget that we need. We plant that seed, and from there, other good things will come. So, and then the last one is just having a sense of urgency, because the 4 most dangerous words for a would-be retiree are just 1 more year. And it's so easy to kick that can down the street and just wait an extra year, until you retire, but you can just 1 more year yourself through 3, 4, 5 years. You can just 1 more year yourself through the youth of your senior years. I don't wanna see that happen to you. I also wanna see you enjoy your journey until you retire, and that's why I made this video up here. 8 things to stop doing in your 60s in order to enjoy your journey until you get to retire. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.